Welcome to Mystic Moons. I'm here for chit chat and personal readings. If anybody has any questions, something you'd like to know more about, well, let me know. We can go and explore the energy together and see what's actually going on with the situation. Or if you just want to say hi and chat, that works too. Especially as we're in the middle of the week. May is officially kicking off. So many things going on. So many things going on both in the world. That energy is also trickling down on an individual level. But if anybody would like to go and say hi, tell me where you're from or where you are now. What you're up to. Perhaps curious about what is arriving for you. Clarification on perhaps who are you dealing with? What is their energy behind? What they are doing and why? All those things we can look into. Actually, these are glass. This is a piece of artwork made. This is his first initial prototype. Thank you. The first initial prototype is right there. And then the second, I have a larger one right here. You can see it's a little bit larger. You can just tell by the scale of the hand. And that one is like so. And eventually, I will do this about life size, probably at least 5 feet, maybe taller. I work in large scale, typically, but right now I don't have the space to make any large pieces. Check out my Instagram. You could see some of the work that's produced. It does. It does. I mean, to crack the glass and also to build up the armatures that they go over. But the beautiful thing about this, look on my channel. It's Mystic Moons 111. I don't know if I put any periods in there in between, but you can see it on the link. It's on my YouTube channel. Yeah, and you can see one of the mediums I definitely work with is glass. I work with wood. I work with found materials too, so cardboard, paper. Trying to think what else. I work with toilet paper rolls. Thank you. Oh, that's actually not me. That's someone else. Yeah, there is a Mystic Moons that does soap and candles. Look on the, there's another Mystic Moons 111. On my page, you'll see other artwork that I've done. You also see other things that I've made. I have 4 cats. I am a big fan of cats. The little tabby that's uploaded there, is my last cat that passed away. But he was so cute. And the little Siamese baby is my girl, who you can see adult ones in my shorts. I have a lot of cat shorts on my channel. I'm almost thinking of creating lives just purely focusing on my cats. I'm thinking about it. Oh. Yeah, I mean, even right now they're sleeping, but you want a cat? There was a cat up here before. I just finished a video for Libra, and I was visited by 2 of my kitties. Everybody's sleeping right now, but I could bring my Siamese. So that's Chi. That's Chibi Chi. Yeah, his name is Little Life. You know, I actually made this. There's a sweater underneath because it still is chilly where I am. I also make designs. I make cat bags and like cat traveling bags and cat harnesses and cat. I do make cat sweaters. I have a whole bunch of things that I've made where just like some of them are just purely like cat capes, but I also make cat dinosaur or dragon type of sweaters. I don't have pictures of those though. But I make little cat sweaters that are cute. Those are just simple cat sweaters, but I have more elaborate ones. I make like little cat fairies, like forest fairies. It kind of looks like a cross between like a forest fairy and a bug, which I think is kind of cute too. Yes, I do. I make a whole bunch of things. I mean, I also made this as well. This portal. It's like a traveling portal bag. What do you do? Do you have any cats yourself? Yeah, like the cat bags, I have pictures of the book bag, I think, on my Instagram. I worked out a pattern. I created a pattern for a cat book bag. That basically it's like a stealth bag too. You can roll it down and have almost like that soft grid from the back. But then if you going to a place where pets aren't allowed, or if you're traveling, take your cat with you. You could just stick them in there, just leave that pocket open, the pocket with the ventilation, and just move on. No one would know. Ah, so do you take care of kitties then? Well, I think that when people deal with kitties, they kind of undersell cats in one way, like the way that you could take dogs out for walks, but not many people take their kids. And some cats really, uh, yeah, some cats really, really enjoy, going outside too. Not all of them, of course, but I think that rather than letting your cat stay, inside, or if you're traveling, letting someone come in and like take care of your cat when the cat could run out and get like spooked. I think they should responsibly have the tools to take care of their kitties, or like, travel with their kitties. And cats are interesting in the fact that, the more enrichment you give them, the more experience you give them, the smarter they become. So that's also the whole thing behind the cats and the cat bags and things like that. Travel savvy kitties. Of course, you could have kitties that don't care and prefer staying home. I mean, it's all about the personality of the cat. Yeah, I mean, especially as I said, when people who, they'll come by and feed your cat. I mean, how many people have those cats that do escape or do run away? Or maybe like their diet will be affected. You don't know. But I mean, responsibly, just not opening up the door and going like, oh, go out, cat, go and experience the outdoors. I mean, that's not fair to the kitty, especially since they're prey animals on the ultimate scale. Put a leash and harness on your kitty. I know. It's so sad. I have two kitties that I found. I found them by the river in a junkyard. My little gray and white cat and my calico. Their mother was a young stray too. She was a kitten herself. I tried really hard to capture the mother. I couldn't. She wouldn't have it. And I found them during COVID. I got into cat rescuing and cat fostering during COVID. And I was in a major city area. I tried so hard to catch her. She was such a. It was so sad because, as I said, she was a kitten herself. I mean, she probably was about 6 or 7 months old. She was very small. You couldn't bribe her with food either. She was so strong-willed, so skinny. And anyway, I caught those two. Two of the kitties that that I have. I was really trying hard to keep the mother. If I could have caught the mother, even though she was not sociable, I would have kept her. Because I thought that was just unfair. But I got my little calico. I saw her dancing among spiders, like big spider webs and spiders and tires. And there were like streams of light coming down. And she just looked so ethereal in this wreckage of a place. And then I went and I dove into literal junk and bugs to get her. Yeah, so even though I wasn't planning on getting that many is how many I have. And all of my cats are 15 to 5 years old. Oh, I love my little girl. When I first caught her, she thought I was going to eat her. It was so sad. She was like, "Oh, my life is over." I know what happens with things like this when you get caught. She literally thought I was going to eat her. Poor thing was all ready to die. Sad, sad, sad energy. I know. She was like, "Oh my God, you're going to eat me." And then when I washed her, the first thing I did was, even though she was skinny and I could tell that she was ill, first thing I did was I dunked her in the shower because I thought might as well. Well, I washed her, not really dunked her in the shower. I filled up a bucket and I dunked her in there. But I thought while she was in such bad shape, I thought let me get the trauma all over, within as quick as possible. And so it was about maybe like a half an hour between catching her and washing her. And then when I first was starting to wash her, I could tell that she was there thinking, this is an odd way to start eating me. She still thought I was going to eat her, but she was like, this is weird, putting me in water, putting soap on me. Yeah, it was sad, but it was very cute. And then when I fed her, I gave her some food. She couldn't believe that as well. It was just funny just how she was. When I found her, well, I always have kept that Pedialyte, or like the kitten Pedialyte. I've always kept like a little emergency animal care kit. So I have a heating blanket, an electric blanket. I have syringes. I have a little scale. I have the kitten formula, the powder stuff. I also keep molasses too, for in case you need to go and give extra sugar high to an animal if it's fading. You could go and give them a temporary sugar fix by giving them sugar water essentially until you get them over to the vet, or as you're taking them to a vet. I found that to be very, very important. Sometimes it can make a difference. And it doesn't really have to be like molasses. It could be any sort of sugar. You have to watch the sugars. So I kind of forget them now. But agave, for instance, has a really high, I think, glycemic index. But there are sugars that are like high sugars and low sugars, like how quickly they're adapted into the bloodstream. But if you have like a fading animal, you could even take your finger in like maple syrup or molasses or honey or what have you, and put it on their tongue. And as you're like brushing them on, at least it'll keep them, give them like a sugar high. Yeah, I mean, it's an emergency thing. Like, don't, like if a cat is unresponsive or if an animal is unresponsive and fading quickly, like just don't go and give them like sugar water or whatever and then go, oh, they'll sleep it off. But if you are noticing that you're planning on going to the vet, you're just like working out logistics, like which vet to go to, who's open, if you need a ride, who's going to take you, if you're waiting on a taxi, when will that taxi get here, like all those sorts of things. But yeah, any sort of sugar, I would say molasses or maple syrup's kind of what I use, what I have at hand. I do think agave is too strong. I wouldn't recommend agave. Also, Cairo corn syrup, the light corn syrup, the same one that you would use in creating your own formulas. You could use that too. But yeah, it's like an emergency patch. I've used that a few times, and it's funny each time I use that, and I've taken them to the vet. The vet, each and every time, different vets have been there like, oh, the blood sugar is so high. And it's like, yeah, because I gave them the, a whole bunch of maple syrup, like on their gums before I came in. Like some get it and some don't. But yeah, I did that. That's hard work to go and deal with ferals. It's sad work. Oh, it does. As I said, you just can't go and like give them maple syrup, like rub some sort of sweetener syrup on their gums, and then think that they'll get better by the morning. How long have you been feeding cats or taking care of cat colonies? Yeah. I mean, I don't particularly agree with the trap, neuter, and release. Mm. Only because, I mean, you are putting those cats out there and people do poison them. They do like set their dogs on them. They are at risk for like, being hurt even more. Of course, not many people are willing to go and put up with them. I think that, also too, a thing with the feral kitties. I mean, some obviously can't be in a multi-cat household, but some of them can. And I think the main thing is just to understand, like, there's the standard notions of what you're going to get with a cat. And if you understand that, that cat is going to be basically skittish until they trust you, if they trust you. What kind of kitty? They say that the cats find you, right? The cats choose you. Right. I mean, I've seen some ferals that acclimate, but it takes them a long time. It's not something that happens within months. You need to literally be in it for the long haul and understand that it could take like 2 to 5 years. And also understand that they could be doing like passive aggressive things like, pooping out of the litter box or marking, or maybe they'll eat their food too fast and they'll puke. I mean, there's all these sorts of behavioral things that go on as well that I think people just lose their patience with. But that's with any kitties. Yeah, I think so. I mean, nothing really. I think that when people are dealing with animals, they expect like too fast of a response. Like of my kitties, I have my male cat. I have two boys, the Siamese, and then I have a gray and white Mogi. And my male Siamese really, really wants to. Ever since my gray and white kitty, I guess, got about 2 years old, 2.5 years old, almost 3. He really, really wanted to go and put him into a submissive posture, a submissive position in the cat hierarchy. And I've never allowed that because I think that's he basically wants to do it from fear. Like he wants to terrify him into admitting I'm boss. And, I don't do that. And I feel like what he'd really like to do is give him good bite, one good bite in the tack, like just enough to cow him. And since I've never allowed that to happen, there's that tension that's always there. Like he really just wants to give him one really, really good, and by good I mean like serious bite. He wants to throw his weight around because my little well, he's not little anymore, but the gray and white kitty, he's so boisterous. He's still acting like a baby even though he's 5 years old. It's like he wants to temper him, have him like understand his place in the hierarchy, a whole bunch of things. And I can't let both kitties out. For instance, if I leave the house, I know that if I leave the house with both of them running free, that the Siamese will attack him to set that dominance. And it's been 5 years. Well, no, about 2 years. 2 years of that, and I've just accepted the way that, like, I won't ever be able to turn my back on those two right now. They do. And so, like, I've made allowances for that. I have an extra large dog kennel. I have 2 of them, like the kind for German Shepherds. I also have like little cat cubbies and things like that. I keep their leashes on them and their harnesses. So, other people would just say, "Oh, I'm just going to go and like, get rid of them because it's extra strife." But I mean, you can work around it. It's just not going to be easy. But it's not hard either. It's just a different way of operating. I do. I have my gray and white kitty really doesn't like the outside though. He likes looking at the window. He doesn't like the idea of being outside. My little calico girl loves being outside. She loves going for walks. The Siamese boy I brought, he likes going outside for walks. And my 4th cat, the eldest, she prefers to stay indoors, but also, too, she doesn't like to be left alone. Oh, that's such a nice idea. I haven't. I haven't, but that's a great idea, HS. I'm going to do that because I do ask for my channel isn't monetized, and I do ask for donations because I go through a lot of litter, for instance, and where I am, even if I get the pine litter, like the pine pellets for barbecue, which I mean those are the cheapest, that still costs me about $15, and I go through that, like I go through a 50-pound bag, not quite every 7 days. And then if I get the other types of litter, like the clay litters, those are like $25. Yeah, I know, it's so expensive. I mean, I'm in the Northeast, I'm in New York, and the prices here are just through the roof for everything. And then the weather is right now too. So they drink more water, they go through more litter. I go through litter like crazy. And also too, because I have a multi-cat household, I can't necessarily just let a litter get funky. Yeah, I'm in New York. It's cold over here too. Our days are maybe around 50 or 60, and our nights are about 40. I mean, it's warming up a little bit. Well, I feel so disillusioned with New York because everything is so expensive and there's really like no way to go and support it. But I think that's just overall in New York, it's in New Jersey, it's in Florida. Yeah, rent is really high. I'm out in the mountains and they're charging city prices for their units. Basically for let's say 300 square feet or 400 square feet, it's about 2,000, 2,500 a month. Really, really high, and you get nothing. And because they've taken these standard apartments, yes, it's insane. And I'm talking out in the sticks. I'm talking 3 hours away from New York City. I'm talking way out in the mountains where you'll be lucky to find a library. Yeah, 2,500 for 300 to 400 square feet. And there are little tiny cabins that are about 600 or 500 square feet. And those tiny cabins are like 3,500, 4,000. I know it's, and then the average, like if you get work around here in this area, first of all, they don't have full-time work because I guess just the state of COVID. We have, well, the thing is about New York too, upstate New York, ever since, I don't really know if it's an ever since type of matter, but they've been raising up the prices so much. Like it before, like I can say before COVID, prices of real estate, like to actually buy, they were reasonable enough. Like you could find some houses anywhere from maybe 50K to 300K. And maybe you can get a really nice house for 500K. And I mean, that would be a really nice house, nice property, nice land, great view, interesting features, blah, blah, right? And then after COVID, they began jacking the prices up. So, like the fixer uppers that were going for 35K or 50K were then going for 200 or 300K. and and then the houses that were actually nice, they began going for like 5 million, like millions, and they literally are middle class houses. It's insane. And then you think about the fact that they've been raising the prices up of both the real estate, the rental market, and oh, it's completely rip off the rental market, and then the buyer's market. No one can afford those prices. Like all the oh, and then another thing they started doing around here too. I mean, I haven't married or anything like that. I don't have kids, but they stopped renting to people who had families. Like if you had a kid, it didn't matter if that kid was like 14 or 4 months. People in upstate New York, they stopped maybe about for the past 5 years renting to people with kids. So they stopped renting to families. They stopped renting to if you had pets. They also began putting in their own furniture in there and saying that they wouldn't move it. So if you had your own furniture, you had to put that into storage if you wanted to go and rent their tiny places. And they began taking normal sized apartment units or normal sized houses, and they started dividing those up into the tiny, like 300, 400 square foot places. Yeah. But it's also just like, the type of people that they were beginning to cater to were people who were transitory, not people who actually have like lives in the area. And then if you find any local work around here, all that local work is really part-time. I mean, a lot of stores around here, they don't open up until 11, 10 or 11. They close by 6. So you have right there a short work day. Retail rent overall is expensive. I mean, it's just like there's no way to pay those prices. And even if you work like 2 or 3 jobs, you couldn't really make it work. Yeah, I mean, New York is just in a bad shape. And then, of course, the city, I don't know, there's still work going on in the city, but that work doesn't really pay that well for, again, the New York City prices. Like, they're basically forcing people to do roommate situations. I know, no house and no life. And then the weird thing about it too, like I primarily work in tech, and I worked a lot with startups, and in startups you have no life as well, because basically they want you on call 24/7. And you don't really make that much money at the end of the day when you tally in all the time that you work for them. I mean, it's just like, even it doesn't really matter where you are and what you're doing. At least in the Northeast, you're not being allowed the space to have a life. And I could say it hasn't been easy. Every single job that I've been in, I've had to file complaints. And of course, I document everything before I bring over those complaints, so I have a paper trail. It's definitely one of the more toxic environments for a woman to be in. Well, when people are doing things, and I think this is the thing that sort of bugs me the most about tech in particular. A lot of people just keep quiet or move on, but then they don't really create any steam or create any noise to stop that from happening for the next person. And I think that's the primary reason of why this stuff continues, because they feel they can get away with it. They have gotten away with it. And of course, when you complain, you're the first one out. You know that whether it's 3 months, whether it's 6 months, whether it's a year, you know that you're going to be out as soon as they can find a nice way of saying, we're letting you go. Oh, yeah, it is. It is. I've had so many people try and tell me that the pay gap exists because women are there taking jobs in childcare or education or administrative work, and that the men have the higher salary because they're engineers. And as someone who's worked as an engineer, as someone with degrees in it as well, the pay gap exists, and it's a big pay gap. In one of the jobs that I was in, I believe my fellow colleague who was in the same exact, like we all had the same credentials, same type of school, same type of previous job history, same type of management, and he got offered like 50 or 60K more a year than I did. Yeah, that's BS. In fact, I would say that I found the women-owned businesses, especially the women-owned businesses in marketing or tech or communications, to be worse, if not just as bad. Women-owned businesses don't make it better. Well, first of all these jobs too, they do actually have written into their guidelines that you have to sign that if you talk about talking about your pay, your compensation is one of the big no-nos. And if they catch you, or of course everything on the company lines, company phone, company computer, etc., all that's recorded. So if they catch you talking about, well, I'm getting this amount of money, or my offer letter was this amount of money, or my bonus was this amount of money, they have a right there to fire you with no consequence. And they could also deny you unemployment because of that, if you talk about compensation. Yeah, all those things. Well, they can't fire you. Well, so some of them, like as I said, if they have that as a rule and regulation in their in their forms, like the same thing where they say that supposedly you're not supposed to do sexual harassment, and supposedly you're not supposed to steal, and supposedly you're not supposed to go and share company secrets. They also can have it baked into those rules that you're not supposed to discuss compensation, any mention of compensation, your own compensation, someone else's compensation. Some of them have that in their rules of like, they could fire you. And also too, they also have it baked in that with your social media, like your online presence, your public persona and presence, that depending upon what you post, you could be fired for that, especially if you're in a leadership position. And it's anything that could be historical, like future post, current post, or historical post. Well, it depends, like, what they could find. So if you use your full name and things like that, that's like easily linkable, then of course. I mean, a lot of people that are in, I would say, those type of companies with that kind of visibility, they scrub their profiles, and they also do one of those like they pay like $50 or $150 for like a year's work of keeping themselves off of being searched. Oh, that's interesting. What kind of, the most you had to do with a job with biometrics? So you mean they scanned in your fingerprints, your voice, your face, things like that? I think that's intrusive too, though. I mean, so many of these things are intrusive, but they're all kind of intrusive in their own ways. Well, depending upon, again, like how public you are with your personal, or let's say like social media and what they can find online. There's, what was I going to say? I actually just lost my train of thought. Trying to remember what it was. Something about posting, or having your own public persona and what's there. But essentially, yeah, that's why they people either keep up a crafted profile, or they just have nothing at all. Oh yeah, now I know what you were saying with the background check. I mean, typically the only thing that those jobs, like let's say like jobs that are in regulated environments, they just want to make sure that, yeah, you don't have like the criminal background, and your education is what you said it was, your work history was what it said it was, and that you have no, like, again, criminal activity. But if you also have that other stuff easily available for, social media and stuff like that, they'll go after that too. Oh, they interviewed your neighbors. That's interesting, considering that I wouldn't consider necessarily neighbor testimony to be all that relevant. If a neighbor is there checking you out, scoping you out to the extent to know your business, I think that's disturbing. I can say that I've very rarely paid attention to my neighbors unless they were disturbing in terms of their attention towards me. I know. Then you even think like how creepy. I think it's creepy for a neighbor to go and notice like when you're going to work or when you're coming back home. I mean, unless they're actually related to you or something like that. I mean, where's the connection and where's the business to pay attention to that? And I'm just saying, who knows what that neighbor is doing in the first place? I mean, that neighbor could be a drug dealer sitting in the middle of suburbia. Yeah, I just think it's weird to ask neighbors that. I had a neighbor that was a drug dealer too. He was like a middleman. He occasionally had people over. It was in a quiet suburban area, a family area. And he chose that area precisely because it was quiet. He kept a very low profile, but apparently after being there for a little bit of time, I found out that he was a drug dealer. He also tried to approach me. This man old enough to be my father, he was approaching me and also trying to like lure me in with like, oh, hey, I'm just here to be neighborly, blah, blah, blah. And if you ever want like to go and have some fun with me, get high or whatever, come on by. It was like I don't do drugs. And I was like, no, thank you. I think I even said, I don't do drugs. And they said, oh, if you want to come over and have dinner. And I said, or I have a drink. And I also don't drink alcohol. I said, I don't drink alcohol. So no thanks. If you want to have dinner, I'm a vegan. Well, it just was really creepy. I mean, this person coming by and okay, so the person was introducing himself, but it still was creepy. It was creepy. It was unsolicited, unwelcome, and then on top of that, this creep was trying to get me, I guess, to take leave of my faculties, so he could, I don't know, do crap. No, that was nasty. And then that neighbor, as I said, especially once he told me that he did that, told me precisely what he said, and then I already heard some things, saw some things, and that weird guy, still continued to watch me for a better half of the year. I know. I mean, I eat very simply. I do like certain things like chips and some cookies here and there. But even that is very specific with like, the brand and organic and no dairy and blah, blah, blah. But yeah, it just was so weird. Anyway, I'm just saying like some neighbors are just, I wouldn't use their testimonial for anything. So it's odd that they would ask neighbors for that. I've been a vegetarian all my life. I've been a vegan since maybe I was about 7. So yeah, I grew up. I'm naturally thin. That's my body type. My brain works normally. I'm not like stunted on height or brain power because of my vegan diet. I think it's hard if you don't do your proper research. So I don't think with any sort of dietary changes you should go cold turkey on it. It doesn't matter what it is because you have to go and acclimate your body to it. And there's different types of levels. Like I've also gone with raw food, and I wouldn't recommend anyone to do raw food unless they again built up to it. Just like I couldn't go and eat meat right now, for instance, or dairy, that would tear up my stomach. But with a vegan diet, there's various ways in which you could go and get your protein. You could get it through beans. You can get it through certain vegetables, and you could also get it through nuts. And I have a diet that really incorporates raw nuts. Beans, right now I'm using tofu. Could also do flax seeds and stuff like that. Hello, Angela. This is just an open reading for chit chat. And if you have any personal questions, if you'd like to donate, I can go and pull for you. Yeah, raw foods, you would need prep time for it if you wanted to do raw foods. So raw foods, if your schedule is really hassled, I don't think you could do raw foods effectively, or at least effectively for your wallet too. Because with raw foods, you'd have to do a lot of preparation. So you need a lot of sprouts. You would do a lot of pre-soaking of your foods. You would need access definitely to fresh fruits and vegetables, also the nuts. And certain things you would have to go and prepare several hours before. to go and make use. I mean, you could also just go and take like salad, and like Brazil nuts, for instance, are an excellent staple. So you could have like Brazil nuts in make milk out of it. You can bake with it. Well, not bake with it, but you can make like cookies. Basically, you would put them together and let them sit in a dehydrator. Things like that. But you need probably a dehydrator, a blender, and a juicer, I would say, to go and do raw foods effectively. And sprouts would be really important. Nuts would be very important. But then again, people go, you can still go and tailor that depending upon, again, what your diet is. But all that has to be eased into. Like my diet is really strong on nuts, but if you're not used to the nuts, that'll tear up your stomach. Some people eat a lot of fruit, like bananas. And you could use bananas, but then again, if you're not used to fruit, if you're not used to the quantity of fruit, you could tear up your stomach, right? It's all these things you have to ease into. Well, all the nuts are very potent, I think. I mean, there's a reason why they say that the average recommended intake is like 1 almond or 2 almonds or 7 almonds a day. That's my other boy. He's my little sweetheart. Yes. He's my biggest cat. And also the most babyest. Well, I'm sorry to hear that, Angela. I do recommend, Angela, if you can't or you're not able at this point to send a donation over for a personal reading, any amount would be fine. But if you're not able to do that, that's what I do the collective readings for. And I do put a lot of time into the collective readings, Angela. And also, too, my channel isn't monetized. So I don't make any money through anything with YouTube, any views, any this, any that. I depend entirely upon viewer support. But that's my gift to everybody, is the many hours that I put into this channel each week for the collective readings. If you feel called to, take a look at them. Basically, I do readings that benefit more than one person. So a collective is just basically a group of people. If I'm doing a reading that concerns only one person, I ask that my time and energy be compensated, for that, either through Cash App or Buy Me a Coffee. Send a little love over. But the collective readings are readings that benefit a group of people, not just one. Do they make biscuits? My girls do. My Siamese boy does not. And I discourage my gray and white kitty from making biscuits, because when he gets biscuits, he gets overly excited. As I said, I don't encourage the kitties just to act out like wild things. Just like I don't allow the Siamese to chomp on my boy and establish dominance, which I'm sure if I did that after the dust settled, everything would be fine with all four of them to be out. But I don't want that. I don't want him to have a trauma. So no trauma. And likewise with the biscuit making of the gray and white kitty. He does something else there too. I'm not going to say what it is, but that's also not allowed. So I don't allow him to do biscuits. He's a very loving kitty though. And his name could have been Mr. Snuggles. He's the snuggliest of all my kitties too. If you want a sweetheart that you can hold and go to sleep with and he'll just rest in your arms, that is a gray and white kitty. So I did do Gemini. Right now, my schedule itself, Angela, is so like I'm going through my own things. Like you wrote a whole bunch of things that you're going through. I'm going through my own very interesting saga, including the fact that two of my clients last Thursday canceled on me within a half an hour. One's retiring, one's getting a divorce. So I have to go and find out where additional income will come from those unexpected things. So yeah, my schedule's too up in the air to have an assigned time. But I am pretty up and around every day, randomly. And I did a Gemini reading not too long ago. There's a Who's Watching You that I did over the weekend. And I did do a May Gemini reading, probably sometime between last Thursday and over the weekend. I forget because I do so many readings. I am currently doing a mist of love readings. I do have, let's see, I have Gemini left of the air signs. I did just finish Libra. There is, if you're curious about love, you could cross watch the readings that are already out for Gemini on the latter halves of those love readings. I don't know. I when I was a kid, I knew that some people around my family were palm readers, professional palm readers, but I didn't really know much about their business at that point, and also too, my mother never allowed anyone to do like my chart or do readings for me or anything like that until I was basically college aged. Yeah, just keep an eye out, Angela. But I do a lot of readings out for the collective. I definitely do Gemini. I think I did do a May Gemini recently for the beginning of May, and Gemini love is on schedule. It's like I think I have Taurus and Gemini left of the love readings. And then I'll probably do, if I have time, a mid-month one as well. And I also have every weekend, I do Who's Watching You and Moon Messages based on your moon sign. Some of my readings are timeless, like the astrological shorts. Look at the title and see if you feel called to it. Some of my readings are time Pacific, but sometimes the messages that come through are more about the time up ahead. Let's see. So this is Kochi. Kochi. Kochi, when I had him, he actually had 2 sets of these teeth right here. He had 4 upper fangs. They fell out though. I was so hoping to go and catch them, but I could never find them. That was a weird, special thing that he has. But yeah, it's Kochi. And of course, I made this little harness too for him. Right now, I have it quite loose. Well, I have no ring on my finger, Angela. No ring on my finger. And no one who I've seen for me yet. I do. I do tarot. I also do general energy work. I did spend a year in residence in an ashram, and I got all my certifications in Reiki, sound healing, massage, yoga, which are all stuff that I studied before, but I actually got my, so-called official paperwork on it. Surprisingly, though, I have found that there really isn't a job market for that either. Thank you. Yeah, I mean, I got it, but at the same point, I could say after going through the process that I don't think I'd recommend anyone living at a spiritual center in residence. I don't really recommend communal living. I think that would be the first thing I'd recommend. And I wouldn't recommend communal living at a spiritual center. I think that there's too much power play that goes on, and people are taking advantage of the fact that you're there to enlighten yourself and get yourself up to the next stage. So because of that openness, it's like it sets you up more for abuse, like people to take advantage of you. Let's a couple of different things. I mean, auras is something that I can see. I don't really think I could do it through photographs, although I haven't really tried through videos. I haven't really focused on it. For me, I feel the color. That's also one of the things that I do for energies. But yeah, I don't recommend necessarily living in communal living. I think also too, the certifications around, I think, so-called New Age practices, I don't really think that's necessary. Even the yoga teacher certification, in which you need X amount of hours to reach level 1 or certification 1, certification 2. And I say that too because I found out that the woman who I was studying with initially, this woman who's from a very respected place, and she's been there for, I don't know, she's in her 70s or something. She's been there for eons. I found out that she's certified, legally classified as insane, and that she's been legally classified as certifiable insane for something like 50 years, like since she was 20 or 30. It's just that she is a functioning individual who's certified legally insane. And there's a whole bunch of other just odd things that I found from people who are teaching and handing out, and the organizations that do that, reputable ones. They all have these disturbing quirks. Now, sound, I think the best thing about, let's say, like a spiritual center or being around one or going around to those sorts of events is just to see different types of things that you normally wouldn't go after yourself. Like I would have never gone after sound healing if it wasn't for my time there. I came across it. I was invited by an organizer. I didn't even sign up for the class to participate, and it really struck me. It could. It could. There's lots of times we could have collaborations with Reiki in sound baths. And of course, the sound baths are basically going over it, but they're, I don't know, it's I think each, depending upon who's doing it, what kind of tools are they using. I recently met a woman who, although I felt like really big scammer vibes from her, I met an Indian woman who she does Drupad, which is like a vocal chanting type of sound bath using I don't even think she says like sounds Vedic prayers. But anyway, she just basically uses everything through her voice. The sound healing and the bowls are really pretty. They are. The interesting thing about the tools that are there is that, like, there's a couple ways in which you can approach it. One is through the planetary energy. So each planet has a scale and a frequency, and you could go and play those, like do sound baths to go and either celebrate a transit, celebrate a period of time, or you could do those sound baths to celebrate or promote healing for a specific, zodiac collective. You can do it that way too. And then another way in which you can approach sound healing, singing bowls. I mean, everything has like a frequency. Even these have a frequency, a scale. Is each scale also corresponds to an organ within the body. Just like each organ could be connected to like one of the chakras, right? And each chakra has its own color and its own characteristics. And those characteristics also include sound. So if you wanted to create a sound bath that specifically focused on like people being empowered to speak more clearly, to be better orators, you can target everything around the throat chakra and those frequencies, those scales. You could also continue that if you wanted to with like the color of the throat chakra, which could be blue. I mean, there's a couple different ways of looking at it. Yeah, I mean, it's just some of the things, as I said, I knew before. I think all these things you could know by just reading if you were interested in it. Again, I'm not a big proponent of recommending people to go through so-called official channels. I think, again, as I said, something about the organizational aspect of those places leads itself to people trying to prey on others. And because people are there going, oh, I'm going to be open, or my karmic lesson, or whatever crap that they say, show your love for the teacher, the love for this, the love for that. There's lots of like cultish brainwashing crap that goes on. I say just go and buy some good books. Go and well, that was one of the reasons too why I set this channel up. Spiritual channel offering services. I do offer Reiki. I do spells. I do energy work. But I think I don't know. Just be careful of organizations. What more can I say than that? No, thank you. I have seen Doctor Strange. I haven't watched it all in like from start to finish. I've seen portions of it. And I do think the parts where they're talking about him, being a doctor, and because his hands can't function or whatever, he wants to go and learn how to heal himself. And that's primarily to a good portion of the energy that draws people to those type of places. They're in flux and they want to know more. In my case, I recently had turned down, I walked away from a very high paying, very prestigious job because I found that they were doing something that was completely, I thought, immoral and unethical. And they just weren't doing one thing, they were doing a whole bunch of things. And I thought, well, what I found out because I was at a certain level within the company, I thought, well, this doesn't exactly affect me. And, with my job, the level I had, I wasn't on the chopping block or anything like that. I also wouldn't be incriminated for anything like that. But the whole fact was I knew about it. And also, too, I was helping in those projects as well. So, Herbert, if you'd like a personal reading, show a little love through either Cash App or buy me a coffee. Send a donation, Herbert, and I'll be more than happy to take a look for you. I don't know. As I said, when I was at that communal center, like I didn't believe curses were real prior. I didn't even think about spell work. And I got to see some very, really, really weird things at that spiritual center for the whole year. That changed my mind on a lot of things I didn't consider. The nature of watching, the nature of manipulation, the nature of hierarchy, the nature of working with belief systems. I don't know, just, as I said, just different things that I didn't think before people would even do. And then I just saw some really weird things that changed how I saw reality in general. Also, another reason why I created the channel. Because the collective trends that happen are very much a real thing. It just depends upon, I think, your age, what you're doing, what your family makeup is like. What stage of life are you at? And those are the trends that pick up. Obviously a 85-year-old Capricorn who's with a partner is going to have a different reality or different phases than a 57-year-old Capricorn who's always been single and doesn't own anything versus 20-year-old Capricorn who is pursuing skills that will help make them in life, right? All these are different phases and different energies. And obviously all three wouldn't share a collective similarity, but you could say that with people with ah, Capricorn. Are you a December Capricorn or a January Capricorn? If you feel called to, check out some of the earlier readings I did last year for Capricorn. Check them out by the title, and if anything jumps at you, watch it. Those readings that I did have a different timeline. January Capricorn. Well, HS, I'm going to go and get some water and stretch my feet for a bit. I'll be back in a little bit. You're welcome. Speak to you in a little bit. I'm going to go and take a break.
The heavy fog. Okay, I switched my connection. Yes, it's a thick fog. Some places, not everywhere. Oh, wait a minute. I'm looking some more. I was just looking in one direction. Ooh, it's a spooky fog. You've heard about that, haven't you? The death fog? We were doing some of that a couple months ago. Well, today, this morning, 7 o'clock in the morning where I am, it's 6:30. That death fog is out there. You know, they've been finding things that hatch from that fog. You've heard about that, right? You've heard about that. You should even ask the death fog. What is that death fog? Seeing that some of us are going to be walking into that this morning. Wonder if we'll burn off. Wow. You would say, what's a spring without fog? Right? That's true. But, nothing is what it seems anymore. Or death fog. What is that? Thick stuff. Hmm. Maybe it's rolling in from someplace else. There hasn't been that much fog here in the mountains. Of course, some places, the lowlands, yes, lots. But they found these white things, these white eggs. But they're kind of like, like when you make like lemon meringue pie, fluffy stuff. They got a little fluffer around them, a little fluffy things around their white gel-like things, like maybe like fish eggs, like octopus eggs or something. Let's just see. That fog. That weird. Fog is thick. It's getting thicker. Should I put down the window? Do you think so? It's coming. It's like coming like from this side, thicker than this side. And I'm like right here, it's like a sandwich. Let me go up and take a look to the window and just take a look. This is curio, isn't it? It seems like it's coming this way. It seems like the fog is coming this way. I mean, it's coming like 3 ways, but this way is the thicker, like coming right at me. Almost like a door. The break was good. The break was good. But wait. I'll be right back too. I'm just gonna have to, I forgot to do one thing, 2 things actually. You get something to drink. And something in the ladies area. Hold on. Be right back. All right, I'm back. Thank you for waiting. Yeah, that fog is seems to be wanting to go. It goes back and forth. You know, fog is just like the ocean. You know how the waves come in and the waves go out? Well, that fog is just like that. It's almost as though it wants to go to the very highest on the mountain. Weird, huh? Weird. Anyway, we'll just have to watch that. It's moving. It's almost like it would have a mind and attitude or ears of its own. So, how are you this morning? This afternoon? This evening? If you would like a reading, I'm here. I'm available. While I study this very peculiar, very strange. When I hear the word fog now, it doesn't matter. Especially when the fog is thick. It's like, it can wait until later. I mean, everybody's heard about it, just like they've heard about the drones. They've heard about the fog, right? Mm-mm. Maybe that fog, well, they say that was for the nanobots in the fog. They say the fog has lots of nanobots, teeny weeny, to the eye invisible. But one thing about nanobots, they pick up sound. Touch, they have, when they have contact, like in the skin, they're supposed to like grab onto you, right? So they have limited functionality in the touch. They just want to like stickers. But they're programmed to do certain things. One thing about programming, especially when you're dealing with like certain factors of, it's like putting water on your laptop, right? It kills it. Well, obviously, these little computers, which are nanobots are immune to water, because fog is basically water, right? Well, used to be anyway. But they're akin to sound, frequency sounds. Frequency is incredible. Let's see. I'm going to do a yes no. Is this fog outside? Is this fog outside? A death fog. Is it a program fog? Yeah, water damage. Yeah. No, I can see it's retreating. Mm-hmm. Only in front of me now. Not me, but in my building. Let me see again, stick my head out. Well, it's slowly going somewhere. I don't see the leaves moving of the trees. All right. Now, is this death fog? A death fog. Let's just take a couple cards. Is this a death fog? Is this a death fog? Death fog. Close my eyes on this one. Death fog, death fog. Death fog. All right. Well, it's almost as though they wouldn't waste their time putting the death fog over here because there's not much over here but a bunch of animals. You know, I mean, animals. Of course, there are certain facilities over here, but well, five of coins, five of pentacles. It's not a high stake area, yeah. But the King of Wands could say, well, we could just make sure that we keep everybody on their toes. Could be, could be. And then anything for a show. Maybe they're just telling us that they do have the death wall. Could be. Could be. What do you think? What do you think? Do you think, I mean, if you think about all those war movies, like I've been watching some of the old ones, you know, soldiers, they jump into the trenches, things like that. Well, you can just imagine. Now they don't have to jump into the trenches. They can just send in the weather. Yeah. Somewhere above this fog, the sun is high. You can see it. You know, it's like having sunglasses on. Yeah, that fog is going up, going someplace in particular. I would say it's going west. And fast, too. Well, that, I could safely say that, my Queequeg, she's trying to drink my drink. Hello, Queequeg. She wants to say good morning. Does anybody want a reading? I'm available. I can divine my feline essence. So I would say we have nothing planned for this area, but I can see that fog is moving fast. It's funny. It's funny, as soon as maybe it heard, like it's probably has sensors, right? Sound. Sound is definitely a thing for the death fog. But I'm right. Let me see. I'm going to see that. Can the death fog be influenced? Can the death fog be influenced by sound? The nanobots in the death fog be influenced by sound. Sound. They don't need light because who has that in day and night? Of course, you can't rule out light. Probably. Okay, so their touch is minimal, right? The touch is, well, contact. You got to stick on something. You want to implant those little jelly-like eggs in you. Now, does the nanobots in the fog? Let's just take this too. Wow. King of Cups and yes. I would say with the Page of Swords. Excuse me. I would say yes. I'd say that's a strong thing. And the fog is burned away. It's retreated. So, hallelujah. Hallelujah. Everybody's happy. Everybody's happy. Yes, Gray, go home. Like, you go home, go home, go home, go home, go home. Yeah, that was the fastest disappearing fog. Well, not the fastest, but the fastest retreating. What do you think? Oh, there goes the pussycat. HS, what do you think? Yeah. Yeah, we don't know. So many mysteries. Do you like a reading? I'm sure you have your own mysteries too. Things that you'd like to figure out. Things that, let me see. I'm gonna go for like a prosperity spell. I really, 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 whoops. Ooh, was that a warning to me not to do? Did you see that motion? Ah, that was like, whew. Well, mm, well, maybe because I was, I'm been called to do a spell, so things are a little jumpy. Some people have asked me to do a group spell. Well, not a group spell, but per se. It's like there's a lot of people need prosperity. I am going to do a group spell to ensure that we get some good luck today. That we get some good luck today. Now, we all need prosperity. Prosperity. Now, there's some things here, things that are standing in our way. Where is my luck? Where is my change of fortune? Where is my opening? Where's my new job? All these questions everyone's asking. Where's my love? Where's my future? It's coming. How do you know it's coming? Well, because certain things are long overdue. Certain things are now. Certain things are in the now. You're in the now. I'm in the now. Prosperity is right here. Isn't this cute? The happy face. The happy face. Let's start today with a happy face, right? Prosperity. 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 Now, concentrate on this feeling of happiness. Concentrate. Concentrate. All right, now, you have a happy face today. Now, prosperity. Prosperity. Having enough, a little that you can stick in the closet. That's prosperity, right? Having things, but enough to share. Does that make you feel? To make you feel like on the other side, not just always taking, but giving too. Even it's good to fluctuate, to give and to take. That's what brings prosperity. Sharing. Sharing. Now let's bring this smoke, as if there wasn't enough smoke. But this is different. Fog is not smoke. Fog is not smoke. No. Bring. Now, we all need to bring luck. Spirits, listen. Spirits, we want our lives changed for the better. We want to have newness. We want a better place to live. We want a better job. We want to see money. We want to see smiles. We want to see better people. We want to see happy people, not screaming people. No, not selfish people. No, not stressed. Take away the stress. Take away. Bring luck. Bring love. Bring happiness, spirits. Spirits. Now to all who are listening, who have asked, this is the first step of our prosperity spell. First of all, to those who are sad, think of the happy face. To all you who are not enough money, think of abundance. To all of you who are sick, think of running and jumping and dancing. Think of those days. Make those future days come to pass. Think positive. Yes. Now, money. I need money. You need money. I need happiness. You need happiness. Now, prosperity. 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 Come from the ether manifest. Come, spirits. Come, prosperity, spirits. Do not let my consciousness, my soul, my essence dwell in what I lack. Bring what I yearn for. Yearning. All right. And we all know what we want. We all know what we need. We're not going to be greedy. No. Now, let's see. Let's see what we need. I need money. You need money. Let's make sure the spirits know very well what we need. It's a lot of people. Spirits. Let me turn down the light. Hold on a second. Yes. Prosperity. Spirits. 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 Bring us. Bring us. You. Bring Amanda. Bring Dennis. Bring Lee. Bring Maribel. Bring Timothy. Bring Jose. Bring Abdullah. Bring all the loved ones. Bring this is burning for them. Bring spirits. Prosperity, money, luck, success. We quake, we ask, we implore. We need, we want. Today, we want a change for the better. We want our lives to have more money. We want our lives to have more meaning. We want, we need, we need. Yes. That's what we need, don't we? We know that. Spirits, prosperity, abundant spirits. Help us. Help. Make your hearts empty. Allow the abundant spirit to come to you, to knock on your door, to see if you're there, to receive your blessings, to open up your blessings. Igala, Yeah, 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 yeah. You know, wanting isn't selfish. Desiring is normal. That's how you get desiring abundance, wanting, needing, interchangeable words for the same feeling. Blessed ones, help us, help us, help us, blessed ones, blessed ones, blessed. Bless us with wealth, enough money. Bless us with smiles. See people happy. Bless us. Bless us. Bring the happiness to us. The happiness. Put a smile. Put a smile. Today is a brand new time. It is actually. Now it's been dawn for a couple of hours, or maybe an hour and a half. But this is different. It's different. Different. Prosperity. Prosperity. Bring us prosperity. Is your door open to prosperity? Prosperity. Is your door open? Is it open? Is it open? Like in a fog of what to choose, where to go. Oh, bring us prosperity and abundance. And we all know, we can feel it. Our fingers tingling. Prosperity. Bring us prosperity. Let's have some more smoke. This is all to burn away negative energies with red dragon's blood. Burn away, burn away yesterday's fears. Not today. Today we're going to be bold. Now, burn. Yes, life's journey. Hello? XXL. Did you come for, or do you feel any prosperity coming today for you? Did you open up the door? Did you open up the door? Open the door. Prosperity is there. You have many visitors today. We all do. But open up the door. Close the door to the other one. The doubt. No. But leave open prosperity. Generosity. Mutual aid. Let's be good. Goodness. It's often said that things don't have a good or evil value. I disagree. Cleanse. Remove all the doubters, the doubter energies. Ooh, sorry for your ears. Remove them. Leave only the happiness ones. Yeah. Now that's the beginning. Prosperity is right on the doorstep. The doorstep. And we could say, maybe. No, not maybe. You have to go back and close the door on the doubters. Prosperity is here. Yes. Hello. Now, seems like that fog is trying to creep back, but we won't let it. Go away. Go away. I'm going to get some more water. I'll be right back. Well, I had my drink again. I can see my spirits are helping me drain from my recent cold. And it's a strange way, too. It's like from the inside, well, of course, colds are from the inside, but it's like deep within myself. And it's in the middle part of my body, of course. It's where everything is. But it's a different way of training. I'm happy that it's happening. It makes me thirsty, though. It makes me thirsty. I guess what's happening now is this normal hot and cold outside fog. We're going to come back to some more prosperity, movements, and vibrations. But right now, we're going to let's see what effects we've had. Where are we at? This morning, I'm just drinking vitamin C, vitamin C, vitamin C. Some little yuckles, too. It's a little yuckles. If anybody would like a reading, please let me know. Readings are available. Yes. If you'd like a reading. That fog is coming back again. That fog. That fog is coming again. As soon as you stop talking about it, there's something about sound. I wonder. Here's an experiment. Now, will this fog depart? Spirits, protect us. Spirit energy is incredible. You've got to believe in yourself. Believe in the spirits around you. Believe. You don't need much, but you do need belief. Yes, that fog is rolling. It probably has a territory that it goes to. Just like A groundhog. A groundhog has no territory. It's always looking for new places, but it has a territory. Fog is a lot like a groundhog. It can be very big. It likes to be big. Did you ever see a little skimpy fog? No, we're not talking about that type of fog. If anyone would like a reading, let me know. All right, I'm here. Well, hello. Is today your day? Is today the day? I'm back again. Well, the sun came. I'll be back. It disappeared again. But you and I are here. We're both here. So that's a good sign, right?